The indefinite child support was set without my knowledge or my consent. And by the time I found out about it, I was being asked to sign the paperwork in front of the judge. I wasn't given any information from the attorney general or either my ex-wife as to why it was set for indefinite child support. And from my understanding, the reason why they haven't is because there is no paperwork, was that she wasn't able to give me that because there was no actual paperwork. That was something that the attorney general had decided. So I'm trying to figure out, how does the attorney general come to the determination that a child is medically unable to without a medical dossier or a medical examination, and then just determine that I'm on indefinite child support.
Dad is disputing the fact that they're saying that his son is mentally incapable of being emancipated.
And we were doing a clarification, so kind of unusual. We're doing another clarification. Unfortunately, I'm not something I did, but I'm glad. I wish you weren't here today. Okay, so y'all had according to the May order, y'all have a disabled child, and then you have a child that's not disabled. Let me read my notes real quick.
And to aid the court, the only thing the state is seeking to clarify is the start date for the 436. We're wanting it to start 6/1/22, but our understanding is that the mother is in agreement, but the father has an issue with the case in general.
Okay, so let me go back to the order from May. It said that one of your children had emancipated, the remaining child was disabled, and child support was clarified to 436 for the disabled child and continued indefinitely. Waive court costs. So I guess we didn't talk about a start date. Okay, so I guess that's all we have to try to talk about today is when that child support was supposed to have begun. You wanted your start date to be what, June 1st, 2022?
The state is requesting June 22. Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Lloyd, you're not in agreement with that?
No, Your Honor. If what you say, or if we can get that clarified, then I guess the 436 and then definite would be. But the thing that I was not in agreement with was the indefinite child support was set without my knowledge or my consent. And by the time I found out about it, I was being asked to sign the paperwork in front of the judge. I wasn't given any information from the attorney general or either my ex-wife as to why it was set for indefinite child support. On this last clarification that we had, I asked the judge this, and he asked my ex-wife to give me the information to the primary care physician so that I could go obtain that information, as well as asking the attorney general. She gave me the information when I went to go talk, and he told me, do your due diligence and get that information. If you do not get that information, or if you're not satisfied, next time we meet up, then we'll handle that situation at that time. So we're here. I did my due diligence. I went to the clinic that she had gave me, or the address that she gave me for the hospital where he was at, or the clinic where he was at. They have no knowledge of him. They didn't give any paperwork that stated that that they recommended that he was unable to be emancipated. I went to the last known place that we had him at, which was the Collier Center when he was younger. They gave me I explained to them what the situation was. They gave me the full document on him, and I have it here in person. I can bring to the courts if they need. They gave me the full document. I combed through it. It does state that he was hearing impaired, have cytomegalovirus. We already knew all that, but it states nowhere in there that they had deemed him unable to be emancipated. So at that point, I reached out to the attorney general, again, asking them for the paperwork. They have not given me the paperwork. And from my understanding, the reason why they haven't is because there is no paperwork. I actually spoke to my ex-wife, and she actually stated in the midst of us talking was that she wasn't able to give me that because there was no actual paperwork. That was something that the attorney general had decided. So I'm trying to figure out, how does the attorney general come to the determination that a child is medically unable to without a medical dossier or a medical examination, and then just determine that I'm on indefinite child support.
Okay, so to be clear here, I was your judge in May. You were present. Okay. Y'all agreed to the order. So you didn't tell me at that time anything else. I mean, it sounds like me that I might have told Ms. Keys to give you more information, but you didn't contest it. So that's why we did the order as it was. Secondly, the attorney general doesn't know anything about your child. They don't have any, they may have documentation, I don't know, but they're not the ones that are seeking indefinite child support, as other than someone's requesting them to do it for them, which is Ms. Keys, of course. But they would have no knowledge personally of whether your child is disabled or not.
Well,
Ms.
Your
Keys,
Honor,
is there?
I did
Hold
disagree
on,
with
hold
you.
on. Excuse me. You did not. No, Ms. Keys. Is there any other medical provider that Mr. Lloyd did not mention that you failed to give him that information, or that you can provide him that information now?
I actually did send him over the art. I CC'd the OAG in it, and I also emailed it to him.
I don't
It
care if you
bounced
see
back.
the AG's office. I'm not the AG's office. What did you give
Yes,
Mr. Lloyd? That's Mr. Lloyd is the only thing I'm talking about.
Okay, yes. I went ahead and I emailed him the art paperwork from the psychologist, the learning disability. I forgot the actual name for the doctor at the school that diagnosed his learning disability. And that paperwork was the paperwork that was sent over to the Social Security office that went ahead and made the Social Security office go ahead and put him on Social Security for indefinite. Every 3 years, he goes through a review to see if his circumstances have changed, and that's the only paperwork they needed. That's what they went by as far as his disability. From the time he was born, every 3 years in school, he goes through an ARD review, and they review his psychological, his physical, his hearing impairment, and they send that over. Every time there's Social Security request to ARD, we send it over, and it happens every 3 years.
Who does the art review? That's what we're trying to figure out.
It's the school. It's the school. They have he goes to, well, when he was in high school, the last time he had his art review was in 2021, I think. And they went ahead and did it then. And he should be going through another one next year. And since he's not in school anymore, he's going to have to go ahead and see the doctors that the Social Security have or whatever, or have him see a regular doctor, one of our family doctors, and then they'll go ahead and send over that paperwork. It happens every 3 years. But I did go ahead and email that paperwork to him, showing what the doctor said he has, what was going on, and what was wrong with him. And if you have if there's a chat here, I could send a screenshot showing that I emailed that paperwork over.
Your Honor,
The
I
art
received no
counselor, you said,
paperwork.
is no longer. Excuse me, Mr. Lloyd. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to answer your
Okay.
question. I don't really even have to talk about this at all today, because this isn't about all that. This is about what the start date is. Period. Okay, so I'm trying to give you that information, or find out if we have all the information, since y'all can't have a conversation about it. All right, so Ms. Keys, you said he's no longer in school, so the art advisor would not be able to have any information anymore?
No, we only have the last art. I only have the last art paperwork. When it's time for him to do another review, I have to let the Social Security know that he still has the same learning disability,
That's
taking
not
see an
what
audiologist.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Ms. Keys, but you're telling me about the future. I'm asking you about right now, where we are. So is the child in
Oh,
school now?
no, sir, he's not in school now.
Okay, so the art counselor that he was seeing in 2021 may or may not have that information?
They should still have it on file. They keep that paperwork on file, so they should still have that on file at the school. Yes.
Do you have a name?
For the, I have the name of the doctor. Give me 1 second, because I had it open just in case you guys would ask for it. All right. The special education teacher is Kim Brockington. The assessment teacher is Chelsea Sanchez. The Louisville ISD rep that sat in for the meeting is Jennifer Stillner. The Texas workforce representative is Kelly Harrison. And I'm not sure what the DHH/AI. Okay, that's his audiology teacher, is Samantha Roberts.
Who is Miss Roberts?
She is the AI teacher, his audiologist teacher at the school. It says DHH/AI teacher, and that's all at the Denton High School in Denton, Texas. So if he wants to get that paperwork from them, he's very welcome to do so. But I did email it over to him.
You did not, but okay.
All right, so Ms. Keys, who is his general physician, like just a regular physician?
Well, right now, the doctor's office that he was going to, that office closed, and he hasn't seen a doctor in maybe a couple of months. We only take him in if he's sick or anything, and he doesn't have a primary.
Well, who was his doctor?
Samar Aslam.
You saying they closed altogether, or he moved to a different place?
Yeah, she moved. It's a she. She moved to a different office. She no longer sees Medicaid patients. So I have to find him another doctor that takes Medicaid. But he's covered under my
What,
husband's insurance.
all right, so does the office still exist where the doctor used to work?
The office still exists, yes. I think it's a different doctor that's
Okay,
at the office though.
And that
okay,
was the
can you give
information she
Mr.
gave me on
Lloyd
the first
the
hearing.
address? Hold on. Oh, you already have that?
Yeah, that was the information she gave me on the first hearing with you, Your Honor. And that was the one I went
Okay,
to, and they
okay.
said that they had no knowledge of him.
Because it's a new doctor. Yep.
Oh, when do you plan to go to the new doctor, Ms. Keys?
Probably next month or January. If I need to take him into the doctor, I could take him into the doctor. I just have to find one that takes his Medicaid or find one that takes my husband's insurance. That shouldn't be a problem. I can get him into a doctor's office.
Are there any other doctors that he sees?
Besides his audiology doctor at what's the name of that school? It's I'm trying to think, not SMU. He graduated from the Collier Center, so he's going to adult audiologist, but we could take him there. But he already knows he's hearing impaired. What he wants is a doctor to diagnose him with the learning disability, and they've already done that. But I can find him a psychologist to do that as well.
Because I mean, I understand that a lot of the people that are doing the art reviews are not doctors, so that's kind of part of the problem too. Are there any other providers that Mr. Lloyd needs to know about that have treated him in the past, that he can get him more information?
No, besides the hearing impaired schools that he's been going to. The doctors that normally go in to talk to him or to review him are actually psychologists and that actually go in and talk to these kids and actually do the assessment. So they're not doctors' offices, but they're with the state, they're with the school district. So they should have all that paperwork on file and from every year they do it at the school if he wants to go that deep.
Does he have a psychologist now?
Does he have a psychologist now?
Yes.
No, sir, not since he's been out of school. Because he was seeing the school
When did he
doctors.
finish school?
He
When did he finish
graduated
school?
in 21. He's been out of school 2 years.
Mr. Lloyd, have you talked to the Social Security office?
The Social Security office, no, I talked to the Attorney General's office. I didn't know that the Social Security office was someone that I could speak to about this situation. So no, I haven't talked to them.
The child support office is just a child support office. They're not going to be any experts on whether your child is disabled or why they're disabled or whether, any of those kinds of things. So don't ask them questions about what the medical problems are with your child, okay? They're just going to be collecting child support, yes or no. That's pretty much all they're going to do. And they're collecting it based on their belief, based on what's been presented by Ms. Keys, that the child is disabled. So you might stop at the Social Security office because obviously they're going to be paying a payment to Ms. Keys. And they do, I mean, what she's saying makes sense. I do understand what you're saying also, Mr. Lloyd, that, I mean, if he's out of school, then these people probably don't want to talk to you because the child's no longer there. So I can understand why you're having problems getting information. You might talk to Social Security office though; they should have current information. And then Ms. Keys, when you get a new doctor assigned, you need to let Mr. Lloyd know the name of that doctor. He's entitled to have that information. And I mean, these valid questions. He's just trying to verify, but I can see reasonably that Mr. Lloyd has had some roadblocks because the child's no longer in school. So they're going to pretty much not want to answer his questions because there's no need, or the child's no longer there at the school. So I understand what Mr. Lloyd's saying. I believe you, Ms. Keys, that the child's disabled, but you don't have a provider today. We don't have anybody current. So it's kind of hard for Mr. Lloyd to do research if he doesn't have all that information. So the more that you can give him, the better. Y'all need to do this outside of court. We shouldn't be doing this here in court at all, because it's just about legal parts of it, not that part of it.
And I try to, Your Honor, but a lot of times she refuses to speak to me or she won't take my calls. So in the past, she would even make our daughter pass messages, and I hated doing that. It's just hard to get her to talk to me about this. And I get it. The conversation or the situation is touchy because we don't agree on it. My whole thing is I have no problem being financially responsible for what I'm obligated for. But the only thing that I have the issue with is that I have yet to see any paperwork that substantiates the claims that he is unable to be emancipated due to medical reasons on his part. And the only reason why I reached out to the attorney general was because the last hearing we had, they stated they had got paperwork from her. So I asked them, well, what was the paperwork? And they have yet to give it to me. But yet they're charging me indefinite child support. The whole thing, if I'm being held to do this, I just need to know why.
Your Honor, I would like to respond just for the record. Since the father is making some allegations against the attorney generals, I would just like to clarify, for the record that the attorney general is following indefinite support that was court ordered previously, and that is our intention to do until we understand that there is a modification or something in place.
That's
There
the
was a
whole
prior
reason.
order before the May order, wasn't there, Ms. Correa?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's the whole reason why I'm saying something, Your Honor, is because that court order that she's stating, I didn't find out about that court order until they were already saying that it was in place. I didn't know anything about it. Didn't even have a chance to contest it or not contest it. And so now I'm being told, well, the judge already signed off on it. I'm like, well, how can they sign off on something that it was never even presented to me to say yay or nay on? So fine, if the judge already signed off on it, okay, well then at least show me proof of what it is that you guys are saying. And no one has shown me proof. And she's saying allegations. I get what the terminology she's trying to use, but it's not allegations. I have actual emails where I've been in contact with the attorney general, as well as conversations where they pass me off to someone else and keep passing me off to someone else. And I keep asking them for the paperwork. And it's been almost a year and a half now, and they have not given me that information.
This was filed a couple of years ago when Kyler was younger, when
Exactly.
I brought in the paperwork showing that he was disabled, showing that, and it was actually one of the from the school, and I brought in the Social Security paperwork as well, showing that he was disabled and what his disability was. And we were in, I forgot what they call it, where you put us each in a different room, and person talks to us, and then they go and talk to the other person, and
Arbitration.
they were both, it was both agreed, and that's how the order was put in, and then he
No,
signed it in front of the judge. So it wasn't like
no.
nothing was behind
I
his back.
didn't agree on that, Your Honor. I knew what she's talking about the arbitration, but they never said anything about definite child support. What we were talking about was the amount of the back child support that I owed and the amount of the medical support that I owed. That's how we ended up getting everything clarified on the amount of the back child support and the medical support.
Yeah, I mean, I can't go through the whole history of your case, but there was another
Yeah.
hearing December 30th of 2020, and you were there too. So I don't know I haven't found a single order yet where you haven't been present. Now, whether you agreed to it or not, that may be a different story, but all the times you've been present for the hearings, at least going back, today, of course, and then the last order and the order before that. So I don't see anywhere where you haven't appeared, but we've had a lot of hearings. Obviously, you weren't paying for a while in the past as well. There were protective orders. So y'all have had a lot of hearings. I can't speak to every single hearing, and I'm not here trying to talk about everything. Ms. Keys, are you wanting the start date to be June of 2022?
Correct. Or
Okay.
yes. Was it 22, Vin? Or I think it was 22 when Kennedy graduated. Yes.
Yes.
The state is proposing June 1st, 2022.
Okay. All right. For the matters that we're here for today, I'm going to clarify only that the start date was supposed to be June 1st of 2022. Mr. Lloyd, you can still do some research, and if you find something that's opposite of that, then you can, I would start with the Social Security office. That would probably be my first stop, being that some of those providers aren't available anymore. And maybe they can give you some information about whether they find that he's disabled. I can tell you from experience with doing cases with Social Security, they don't just grant Social Security just because somebody says so. They usually have well documented information from doctors that say the child is disabled. They don't like to give out disability. They don't want to do that. So
No,
there
and
hasn't been
I agree with you, Your Honor.
like
I'm
that.
not saying that they're lying. But because I'm not disputing the fact. She is right. I'm not disputing the fact that he is hearing impaired. He is hearing impaired, so he is disabled in that. But the fact that they're saying that he is mentally incapable of being emancipated, that's the part that I am disputing, and no one can seem to give me any information about it. When I go to the attorney general or when I go to anybody else, they all say,
Stop
well,
going to
you
the
have to
attorney
go
general's
back and
office.
talk to the court.
Go to the okay, stop going to the attorney general's office. They're not going to have that information. They're going to present it on the day of court, and that's pretty much it. At some point, they did that, and that's where we are. Where we are. I mean, but go to the Social Security office. Ms. Key is going to update you when the child gets a new doctor. You can go to them, you know, and then if you want to modify it, you can ask for it to be modified to stop child support if you think the child is 100% able to work again. I'm not sure what the level of his hearing disability is, if that's something that will allow him to work on a full-time basis or not. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, not here to decide that today anyway. But definitely you can do that for the future. But for the issue, I mean, I've gone far trying to help
No, I
help y'all
appreciate it.
have a
Thank you, brother.
conversation that y'all don't have to have in court, that y'all can have outside of court. And I know y'all have a long history with each other, but y'all have to have this information. You have to share this information. Ms. Keys, on anything updates, please let Mr. Lloyd know. You don't have to talk to him on the phone. You can send him a letter or email or text with that information and let him look. I don't think anything's
Okay.
probably going to change anything, but he's entitled to the information. He has questions. I mean, I would, if I
Correct.
were Mr. Lloyd, I'd have questions too. He hasn't been to the doctors like you have. He hasn't been to all the people, all the providers like you have. So he has questions. He's entitled to get some answers, and that may satisfy it if you could just give him that provider information. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, just real quick so
All
we
right.
can
That
move on with this.
we need very
Could
quick
you
because
tell
I
me?
got a lot of people waiting now.
Yep, that's why I want. Could you tell me
Yes.
what Social Security office do I go? Can I just go to anyone here, or is it a specific one that I have to go to?
It's the Denton one.
I think any of them, and you might want to bring a copy of court order with you or any of your court orders to say that you have access to that information. You may be one of the original orders if you have one there that says you have right to medical information. They might want to see
Yeah,
that, but
I have that. Okay.
yeah, bring that with you just in case. I don't want that to be a problem. I would imagine any of them would be able to give you that information, right, Ms. Keys?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I have that. All right, thank you, Your Honor. Thank y'all, and we can move
All
forward
right,
now.
thank y'all. All right. All right. So y'all can press leave on the Zoom, text it out. They'll send you a copy of the new court order. Thank you.
Okay.
Now you just purchased, is it true you purchased a new home last year?
No, I purchased a
years
new
ago?
home when I moved to West Virginia 3.5 years ago.
Okay. Is that near the Potomac River?
It is.
And you own a riverfront lot there on the Potomac River?
It came with the home, yes. It's
Okay.
part of the housing development.
And you've got some, you know, some toys, boats, and you have 4 vehicles, is that correct?